Hello and welcome back to this Junior's Gasoline Alley, where today we've got something fun and fast to play with. That's right, this is a Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and in this video we're going to be doing an oil change on this Italian beast, and it should only take you somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour, while also not breaking the bank at the dealership anymore. So if this kind of thing's interesting to you, stick around and we'll go over the items you're going to need for this project and step-by-step instructions to get it done. So let's get into it. Now, before we start tackling this project, it's important we gather all of the tools and equipment necessary. First off is going to be, we need 5.5 quarts of SAE 0W30 full synthetic oil. Next up, you need a Alfa Romeo approved oil filter. In this case, I'm going to use a Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Then you should also gather a 3/8 ratchet with a T20, T25, and T30 Torx bits, as well as a 14mm socket. Finally, you will need an oil drain pan to be able to catch the oil and make sure it exceeds the volume required to fill your engine, so that way we're not going to have any spillage. And last off, of course, a jack and jack stand so that you can safely lift up your vehicle. Starting with jacking up your car safely, always use a flat and stable surface and engage the parking brake before jacking up the car. Place the jack underneath the appropriate lift points and be sure to slide a jack stand in place on both sides so that you can safely get underneath your vehicle. In my case, I've got access to a lift, so we're going to skip that step. Moving on from there, you've got 21 fasteners to remove the under tray that's below the engine. This is there to both help with noise, vibration, and harshness, protect the electronics underneath the engine, as well as a bit of aerodynamics, but it has 21 fasteners so that you'll need to loosen up to be able to get underneath. Now, if you have the luxury of having an electric tool, that's a perfect way. Otherwise, use that ratchet and get going. Next up is it's time to remove the oil drain plug. Go ahead and slide your oil drain pan underneath the oil drain plug. Then take your ratchet and 14mm socket to be able to loosen up that drain plug. Be sure to catch all of the oil. We don't want any spills here, and let it drain out completely. While the oil is draining out of the vehicle, it's now time for us to turn our attention to the oil filter. The oil filter is the heart of the engine's oiling system, cleaning out the oil that's been through the combustion cycle and the rest of the engine, and then cleaning it before it goes back in to ensure that it's in good shape without any debris. This needs to be replaced each time. To remove it lefty-loosey, and it's going to come out. Be careful while removing it so that you don't get oil all over the place. Once the oil is fully emptied out of the engine, go ahead and start by using some of the 5.5 quarts of oil that you've selected and pour that into the oil filter first. Then you'll be able to raise the oil filter up underneath the engine, spin it righty-tighty till it's nice and snug up against the engine block. It's now time to go ahead and replace the oil drain plug. Screw that back in. You don't want to over tighten here. It is aluminum, so just snug and just a touch past that is fine. Do not over tighten. You can now go ahead and put the under tray back beneath the engine with all 21 fasteners. Be sure to get that securely in place. You don't want to lose any fasteners or have it rattling around as you drive down the road. And then you can lower the vehicle safely so as to be able to pour in the new oil. You'll see an oil filler cap that you can turn lefty-loosey to pull off of the engine, and that's going to give you an opening into the valve cover where you can now pour in the remaining of that 5.5 quarts of oil. Be sure to pour in slowly and avoid any leaks. Using a funnel here is a great move to be sure that you don't pour oil all over the engine. Once you're done, replace the oil cap back onto the top of the engine, close your hood, and now it's time to get into the vehicle and check the oil level. This being a modern luxury vehicle, it no longer has an oil dipstick, so go ahead and turn the engine on and go into the center infotainment system so that you'll be able to click on apps, then my car, and then oil level. And you should be all set. Hopefully this has been helpful and you've been able to tackle an oil change on your Alfa Romeo Stelvio? If you did, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, as well as ask any questions that you may have. And a quick reminder, I do have some affiliate links down in the description below for you to be able to get any of the parts or tools required to change the oil on your Alfa Romeo Stelvio.